Hello there. Welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and today I have a beautiful single page layout and a card to create with you today as part of the Snips by Kelly and the Snapshots single page Saturday sketch challenge. Yes, I realize I'm posting single page Saturday on Sunday, so please forgive me. But if you follow me, you know that back in May, we started a sketch challenge that invited all of you and any of my downline to participate and create your take on the sketches that launched in the May annual catalog. So I created this PDF and I chose layouts and cards and or tags to create each month. So this month we're working through the September sketches and we're using some brand new gorgeous product. So you're looking at the Peaceful Garden Designer Series paper and sticker sheet. Now there is a Peaceful Garden Suite and a Peaceful Days scrapbooking workshop kit, but today we're going to use the gorgeous hues of blue and this gorgeous sticker sheet to create our single page layout. So when you look at the sketch challenge for today, there are lots of banners, and many of you know that we have party banners that launched some time back that have so many party banner dies within them. And I thought we could use these party banner dies and maybe change up the sketch just a titch and use these banners across the page. Look at all of these banner dies that you get in this set. 20 dies in this set and all different sizes of banners. You can layer them on top of each other or you can stack them side by side. And I think this is going to make a beautiful page with all of these gorgeous Peaceful Garden Designer Series papers. They're so pretty. And even though there's a little bit of a Christmas vibe with this, I am absolutely using this for a non-Christmas layout. We're going to be scrapbooking some of my family and they're wearing blues, and I love that these blues can be for so many things. So you can see this is our oldest son Colt and his family, his wife Erin, and then 4 of our grands. We have Carter Kirk, Maya Jean, Gracie May, and Claire Adeline. And Maya Jean is a senior this year. Gracie left us a few years ago to go to college, but Maya is a senior. So you know what that means for families. They get their family photos taken whenever they have a graduating senior, and I love it. I'm so happy to have such a gorgeous photo of this family that I love so much. So I'm just kind of shopping through the Peaceful Garden Designer Series papers. I love this like crumb cake wash in the background. I think that's going to be great, but I want a combination of busy and more muted. I want a combination of small patterns and medium and no pattern, so I really want a combination to layer those banners, and I think this is going to work great. I also love the idea of having a pretty pattern sticking out from behind that more muted wash tone. It almost looks like paintbrush strokes or strokes in the background. And I think I can, add a little bit of that crumb cake brown. There's some browns in the grass in the background. They have all different blues between the shirts and the jeans, and there's lots of different blues. So I think we can get the crumb cake and the blues to match. And then of course there's white as well. Claire Adeline is wearing white and Erin is wearing white, and there's a little bit of white in Maya Jean's striped shirt. So I kind of get it where I'm happy and I want to have the background, but I don't want to have a perfect square. But I do want to reserve some of the pattern paper underneath. I don't want to waste all the pattern paper. I can see myself cutting this wash pattern on the top and maybe doing some tearing. So maybe cutting from 1 inch, maybe to 9 or 9.5 inches, just to reserve a piece in the center. Now, some people think that might be a little tricky, but we gut frames all the time and we don't have to gut them symmetrically. So we usually go from 1 inch all the way around to the whole outer outside to make a perfectly square frame. So we're going to go 1 inch to 11 inches. And we're going to do that, but then we're going to stop when we get to 9.5. Now I actually cut too far on the bottom, but it ends up being perfectly okay because it ends up being cut or covered with a sticker, but I also taped it on the back. But now you can see by cutting 1 inch to 9 inches or 1 inch to 9.5 inches that I have just the amount out of the bottom that I need, and I didn't have to have a perfectly symmetrical square. So I'm going to tear the edge of this and probably do a little bit of inking to add a little bit of interest. This isn't going to be a lot of heavy lifting tonight, but I do want to kill lots of birds with one stone. We have a challenge right now going on in Stampin' Up, and it's a challenge to use alphabet dies. So I'm going to use 2 different alpha dies on this in some way. At this point in the video, I have no idea how, but I want to use a couple alpha dies on this and be able to incorporate that into this challenge as well. So now I'm going ahead with some sizes, and I've chose the 5-inch banner, the 4.5-inch banner, 3 3/4 inch banner, and the 2 7/8 inch banner. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to land, but in my mind initially at this point in the video, I'm thinking like this, more top heavy, and I end up changing my mind, and you're going to see why. So the sketch has the banners going more across the page, but I really love the idea of staggering them still across the page, but staggering them up and down a little bit. So how I landed on these patterns is I pulled from one color of each of the previous patterns. So you can see that I had these 2 colors in the little sparkle star, and then one of the sparkle stars was the kind of the wash color there, and then I landed again on a darker color at the very end. Now I also think that we could, like this sketch, cut an even smaller banner die in white and journal on top of one of the banners. I actually don't end up going that route, but I think it's a great idea, and I love what they did in the sketch. I love that we have these sketches to follow, and I've linked in the description a PDF that I created dividing out all the tag, card, and layout sketches from our annual catalog, so that if you want to play along, it's wonderful to use up things from your stash and be inspired by a sketch. You could reduplicate what I'm creating here if you wanted to case that, and use any papers that you want to. The layout itself is versatile, and you can use it with any patterns that you want. So now I've cut down this photo of the Fitz fam, of our son's family, to 4 by 6, and I've framed that with a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 willow white. I've tucked in that crumb cake pattern at 4 1/2, let's see, 5 by 7 actually. I gave a little bit of an extra edge, and now I'm just kind of working with these banners until they're pleasing to the eye. So on the sketch, there's another banner going horizontally for a title, but I do want to layer these banners underneath. Now I notice that I don't notice, I would like to be able to ink all the edges. Because crumb cake is a coordinating color, I think we're pretty safe if we want to ink all the edges with crumb cake ink. So I won't make you watch all of that, but I'm going to do all the edges of all the banners. I'm going to do all of the edges of the crumb cake wash paper that's going to be in the background, and then I'm going to do the edges of the crumb cake pattern that's behind the photo as a photo mat, and also the edges of the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 willow white photo mat. I really think that just makes the pieces stand out a little bit. Now you're going to see me chop a little piece off of this banner because the top part isn't going to show, and I want it to look like it's all one piece. Even though I've used a smaller amount of pattern paper, I can pull that piece that I cut off the top up to the top and make it look like it's a really long banner. It's a great trick to do. Plus that gives me a little step up on the upper right so that your eye doesn't just chunk all the way across the page. You've got some levels, and you got a little height, and then you've got it coming down a little lower. And I think that those patterns are going to work perfectly with all those different hues of blue. I think these would make amazing Christmas pages, amazing masculine pages, amazing everyday pages, family photos. So here here we go with the challenge. Stampin' Up! Challenge us to use some of their alpha dies. So I have the party alpha dies here, and then I'm also going to pull out, thinking about subtitles, I'm going to pull out the mini alpha. Now the mini alpha is really unique in that you can cut all the letters on one die all at once. It's kind of fun to collect letters of different colors that you can just have in your stash. Now I'm pulling out a chunk of Irresistibles. We have Irresistibles. I can link those in the description, and they are a resist cardstock. You ink it, and I'm inking with a little bit of the oh goodness gracious, our brand new Secret C ink, and it's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous on these Irresistibles. So you just rub the ink on the resist cardstock, you wipe the excess ink away, and on the resist areas where there's a pattern, you have white peeking through, and you've made another pattern. So we have leaves, we have crisscross, we have quite a few different patterns in a pack, and I'll link those in the description. I also have some in my stash left over from Close to My Heart as well that I'm using up. So I can't remember if the crisscross is an SU or if it's a Close to My Heart, but there is, I believe, at least a stripe or a crisscross in the SU Irresistibles. So I wanted to do a play. I heard some people say, oh my goodness, the alpha dies are so large. I have done so much with the alpha dies. I have had so much fun. In fact, I can link in this video at the end all of the different things that I've done with those alpha dies, some photos. I did list those on my, or show those on my Facebook page as well, because I've done so many fun things, and I don't think that they're too big. I do think that there are certain things you can't do with them, and there are certain things that they work great with. But like picking a smaller, large focal title like Us, and then adding smaller letters. This is Us. You can do subtitles underneath. You can do pre-titles up above. You can have different layers when you combine alpha dies, and it makes such a cool look. Now, I love these letters with the Irresistibles, but again, I want them to pop around the edge. So I simply mounted those on crumb cake cardstock, trimmed around the edges. Now, when you're fussy cutting, remember, rotate your non-scissor hand. Rotate the paper and not the scissors, and you will get a great edge that makes it look like you've die cut that letter out. So now I started out with an inch strip of willow white, and I actually trimmed it down to 7/8. I really wanted it to be a super tight banner because I didn't want the Us to be completely covered up, but I want to possibly put This Is either on top or in the middle. And of course, I inked all of those letters with crumb cake. I inked the banner with crumb cake. I dovetailed the banner, or notched the banner, by snipping up with my scissors about a 1/2 inch in the middle and then cutting on a diagonal on either end. Now, I pull a sticker off the sticker sheet that has these lines on it for journaling. I originally thought that I would maybe cut another banner to journal on, but we have this great journal sticker that's going to be a great filler element over on the right. I wanted a lot of the pattern paper to show over on the right, but I also feel like it's great to have a little balance. I'll probably put some of these sticker trees on the left-hand side of the layout. So pretty. I wish I had like 25 of these blue trees. They are gorgeous. I love them. So I'm definitely going to have to take a tree die that we have and make some more of the Secret C trees. They're so pretty. So I think a few leaves off to the right-hand side to balance and draw your eye from the upper left of the photo all the way down to the lower right. It's not necessarily a cluster of 3, but by putting a focal element on the upper left and then one on the lower right, it draws your eye across the photo and right onto the journaling, which is important. So it's going to draw your eye up. Now we have some of these stickers on the sticker sheet. So we have some hearts, so we can lay those around. And then we have hues of blue flowers. They are so pretty, and you get so many on a sheet. I've used and used these, and I absolutely love them. And I love that they have all the hues and they end on white or a little bit of an off-white. And so they stand out if you want to use the off-white on darker papers. And I love that. And then I also love that you have the hues of blue. Now I'm going to come back in really, really, really lightly with Secret C, and I'm going to use my blending brush just to help that journaling stand out a little bit more, and I'm getting happy. Now don't worry, I'm going to show you the whole layout here, but if you want to hang a little longer, let's make the card, and then I'll show you close-ups of the layout and the card and a still shot if you want to take a screenshot of the finished layout. So here I have some cards that I've made with the Peaceful Garden series and also with the Peace on Earth Stampin' Die set. So when you look at the card sketch, you can see this nice large oval. Now the oval doesn't have to be literal, it's just more of an oblong element, right? So if you have a horizontal card that you're making, then you can add an oblong element. So I'm going to use these dies from Peace on Earth, and I'm going to lay them inside each other and create a frame. Now we have this gorgeous, gorgeous embossing folder called Peaceful Greenery. So I started out with 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 regular card size, but I do end up trimming that down to 4 by 5 1/4 because I think that we need color on the edge of that, but it's so pretty. It makes this little wreath, and then it fits that frame perfectly on the inside. So I'm going to grab With Love from that same stamp set and stamp that with Secret C. I'm using really heavy duty glue on this frame, and the reason that I am is the glimmer paper that I want to mount it on sometimes is hard to stick to if you use regular adhesive. And I can see when I start working with it, I didn't leave it sit long enough. So you really want to use whatever you have that you consider a really heavy duty adhesive. I'm just going to fussy cut around. Now you might wonder, why am I using the I think it's Peaceful Garden shimmer paper, glimmer paper, or Peaceful Greenery. I think it's Peaceful Garden glimmer paper. I keep wanting to say shimmer paper because I need a wider edge. I want to make a cute shaker card, and I need a wider edge around that. And so I added the glimmer paper, cut the inside out again with the smaller frame die. Then I can add that to a window sheet and trim around that to create a super fun shaker element. I could have probably tried to use mini dimensionals, but even that frame, if I didn't add the glimmer paper to it, would be too skinny for that. But what I love to do is take the sheets, the adhesive sheets, and go tiny, even tinier than an 1/8 if I want to. And as long as I cut on the front and the back of the foam sheet, I can make strips that are as little as possible. Very, very tiny, even tinier than an 1/8 of an inch, that'll fit right around this and create this shaker element. Now it doesn't have to be pretty on the back, it just has to seal it. So you're just going to tear some of those foam pieces away until it goes all the way around that frame. I've added some Secret C to the With Love. I've pulled out an anti-static pouch. Now, sometimes loose sequins, and we're using these loose shaker elements that have an iridescent feel to them, and sometimes they have static cling in them, and there's cornstarch powder inside an anti-static pouch. So if you tap a little cornstarch inside of your shaker pieces or on the inner lid or the base of the card, it will take away some of that static cling, and then all of those shaker elements won't suck up to the top right away, and then you'll be able to have them shake more freely. So you can sprinkle a little bit of cornstarch powder in there, or you can just rub that with that anti-static pouch, and I love it. It's so pretty. pretty. It's just got that pretty little iridescent feel inside, and we can turn any shape into a shaker window. It all has to do with just creating that foam on the back. So I'm going to cheat and use a couple leftover leaves so you can see that pear shape there. It's kind of a leaf shape, and then the other leaf coming out to the left accounts for that long shape. I'm going to add a heart on there and a couple other hearts around because those can account for the circular shapes around the card. And then we'll add some more little circles by adding the Hues of Blues flowers. So now we've created great texture in the background. We have that oblong shape by creating a pretty window shaker there, and we've added that pear shape and the other longer and round elements by just using stickers on the sticker sheet. So let's check our sketch and check ourselves. We have all of our elements here on the card, and I love how simple that was and how cute that turned out. I love turning that into a shaker element. And here is our banner page, and I'll come and do a close-up. And if you want to hang out till the end, I'll show you some more alpha die pages that I created. And I will share, since it is Stampin' Up's challenge to use alpha dies this month, I will share 3 or 4 or 5 different things that I've done, other things that I've done with those alpha dies. I hope you'll stick around for that, but I also hope you'll hit like, subscribe, the notifications bell. And if you're following along and you've created your sketch, be sure to share with me out on social media. You can check out a couple of my downline who created videos as well. They're linked in the description of this video. Just hit the more button and come back soon for more right here on Snips by Kelly.